compulsory insurance. So section 4A says about compulsory insurance. See, according to the Gratuity Act, the employers, what they should do, they should always obtain an insurance from the life insurance corporation. Why they have to obtain insurance? See, this is for their liability of payment of gratuity. If the employer has already established an approved gratuity fund, see, usually so most of the people, a morning I told you they should keep a gratuity fund. Okay. Suppose if they have not approved, then it is different. Suppose if they have approved, that means if they are already having a gratuity fund, he may be exempted from subsection 1. That means already if he is having gratuity fund, he need not take insurance. Suppose if he is not having gratuity fund, he is supposed to take a insurance with respect to gratuity or for the liability of payment of gratuity. So the employer shall get the company registered with the controlling authority within the prescribed time. There will be an authority called as controlling authority. So the employer should register saying that our company exists and we are paying gratuity, we are eligible, so they should be registered. So next, they should appoint some board of trustees. So the appropriate government, that means any state government or central government, shall make some trustees to be appointed for this. Then every employer shall be liable to pay the contribution either in the either in the way of premium or to the approved gratuity fund. That means how we pay insurance now, like that company also will take an insurance with respect to gratuity, and it will keep paying the premium. Premium is monthly or yearly what they pay for this compulsory insurance. Like now ಏನಾದ್ರು insurance ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ premium pay ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, yearly. Like that employer also shall pay contribution here just to have that gratuity fund or approved gratuity fund. So in any contraventions to the subsection 5 will lead to a fine of 10,000 rupees for continuously doing some offense, or some penalty of 1,000 rupees for each day. Suppose if he doesn't follow these regulations as per the Gratuity Act under section 5, 10,000 rupees fine will be imposed on the employer. And if he continues to do the same offense, another 1,000 rupees penalty will be imposed for each day. Can you see now the other slide? Hello? Hello?
Payment of gratuity is visible, sir.
Payment of gratuity. That means this one compulsory insurance. Huh? Oh, this one is visible. Huh?
Compulsory insurance gone.
Compulsory insurance was visible, no? This one was visible, no?
Payment of gratuity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Compulsory.
Okay. Now, can you see this section 6 nomination?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, morning I've already told you about nomination. Okay. The employee must appoint a nominee for such purpose, so that he can distribute the gratuity in more than one nominee. That is not only for one, but for more than that. So if the employee has a family, then he should nominate any of the family members and not an outsider. Okay. That means if he has family members, he can nominate any of the family members, but not an outsider. If the nomination can be modified as and when by the employee can change the nomination. That means initially he has given his wife's name, then he may change it to his mother's name, he can change it to his father's name. Okay. Suppose if the nominee predeceases the employee, he has to make a fresh nomination. That means suppose if the employee has made a nominee, and if that nominee is no more, if he has died, then he has to give fresh one more nomination. Who has to give? Employee has to give some fresh nomination. Then every change in the nomination has to be sent to the employer. That means it should be kept in a safe custody. Suppose if he makes any changes, nominee member's name he is going to change, or he is going to change the name of the nominee, addresses of the nominee, all those things should be compulsorily communicated to the employer. Now can you see section 7, determination of amount of gratuity?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, a person is eligible for gratuity, he shall give it in writing to the employer. If a person is eligible for gratuity, he should always give it in writing to the employer. Yaradru gratuity ge arharu antandre, he should give it in writing through a letter to the employer. So the employer is going to determine the amount of gratuity. That means how much should be paid, and he is going to give a notice in writing to the employee who is to receive the gratuity when due arises. See, if I'm working for an employer for more than 5 years, if I give a letter to the employer stating that I'm supposed to get certain amount of gratuity, he should give a notice in writing to the employee who is to receive the gratuity whenever his due comes. So the employer shall pay the gratuity or make the gratuity payment within 30 days once it become dues. Suppose Prasanna leaves some XYZ company after 5 years of tenure. So he has given a letter stating that I am leaving this organization. Once I submit my resignation, once my relieving everything gets over, from that day within 30 days my gratuity should be paid. If the amount is not paid by the employer, he is supposed to pay some simple interest for delaying such payment that will be specified by the government. The government will specify how much interest they should pay. Suppose, in case any dispute is going to happen regarding amount of gratuity, so the person who is entitled to receive gratuity, it shall be paid to the controlling authority. ಈಗ gratuity amount ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು? The employer should pay it to the employee, correct? Suppose the person entitled to receive gratuity is going to face any dispute. ಈಗ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಜಾನ್ಸಿ ಇವಾಗ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸಮ್ XYZ ಕಂಪ್ನಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ಜಾನ್ಸಿ is supposed to get gratuity, but some kind of dispute is going to happen with respect to the amount of gratuity should be paid to Jansi. So what they will do, instead of paying it to her, the amount will be there with the controlling authority, or it will be paid to the controlling authority. Once the issues get resolved, that means for the disputed case, an investigation will be done or it will be undertaken, that will be done by the controlling authority. What they will do, when employer gives an application with respect to that, they are going to come and they are going to cross check, and they shall pay the final amount of gratuity to the employee or to his nominee. Suppose if that employee is not ready to take, it can be given to the nominee. If the employee is alive, it can be paid to employee only. So like that, any disputed case are there, it will be referred to the controlling authority. Then once again, the disputed case will be resolved, provided if the employee gives an application, so that will be resolved through the Gratuity Act or it will be resolved by the controlling authority. Next, what about if an aggrieved party can make an appeal to the appropriate government? He can make it within 60 days from the receipt of such orders. See, in spite of all these procedures, there are many companies, they don't pay gratuity. So what the aggrieved party can do? The aggrieved party can go for an appeal to the appropriate government. Appeal means ahavalu kododu anta kariತೀವಿ. To whom you are going to give? You are going to appeal to the appropriate government. So within 60 days from the receipt of such orders, that means if the amount is not being paid, you can submit it before the appropriate government. Can you see this slide? Section 7A, 7B.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Section 7A, Section 7B, what it says? Appointment and power of inspectors. See, as per the Gratuity Act, the appropriate government can appoint as many inspectors as it is going to think fit for the purpose of carrying on any investigation or inquiries. In Factories Act also, I told you that there will be an inspector. So the same inspector will be appointed here who is going to carry on the investigation or inquiries. So what are they going to do? They have the power to conduct investigations. That means they are going to collect the evidences. They are going to enter the premises, required to produce the copies, extracts from any registers or records, that will be done by them. So what the inspector can do? Inspector will go to the different industry. So anything related to the gratuity, he is going to collect those evidences. He is going to do some investigation like police officer. He is going to collect the evidences. He is going to enter into the premises where you can take away the copies, extracts from any registers or records. So some people will be keeping certain copies very safely. So those areas and those premises can be, you can require to produce the copies, extracts from any registers or records saying that you are the employee. So all those details should be given to the inspector. So inspector is having power to conduct investigations. Next is section 8, recovery of gratuity. See, most of the time what happens, the controlling authority, after making an application from the aggrieved party, I mean, the people who have been not given the gratuity, we call them as aggrieved party. So this aggrieved party, what they will do, they are going to issue a certificate to the collector to recover the amount of gratuity payable from the employer. So what the aggrieved employee will do is going to issue a certificate to the collector to recover the amount of gratuity payable from the employer. That means how much he should pay, how the employer should pay, how much gratuity he should pay. Regarding that, section 8 speaks about the recovery of gratuity. So that too with compounded interest. I think you all know what is compounded interest. Suppose this year you have kept 1 lakh rupees money in bank. So you will get 6,000 rupees as interest. So when you don't take out that interest keeps on getting accumulated in the account. So every year your balance will be improving. So that we call it as the decor. So sorry, that we call it as the amount of money. So the controlling authority on application from the aggrieved party is going to issue a certificate to the collector to recover the amount of gratuity which is payable from the employer. Employer should pay that money. So that too with compounded interest. That means this year 6,000, next year 6,000 plus 6, 12,000. For 12,000, interest will be calculated. Next, section 10 says about the exemption of employer in certain cases. See, the employer, if he is charged with an offense, that can be exempted from the liability. Suppose if he is able to prove an satisfaction before the court that this person has used some due diligence to enforce this act. Due diligence means he has taken some advantages, and if you say that other person committed the crime without your knowledge or consent, then such places or such occasions the